Ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 o'clock in the morning in sunny Los Angeles, and it's time for another round of Colourlab AI Ask Me Anything. Hello, and good morning. Hope you guys are well. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Marcello. Anastasia is with us again. Hello, Anastasia. Good to see you. Patrick is here. Just say hi and say where you're from. Just really wanted to give you a little heads up to what we're going to be doing today. Today, I'm going to be doing slightly different, stuff than we did last time. Last time we were focusing more on editing and, Adobe Premiere workflows. Today, we're going to focus more on what happens on set. This is really where our application, kind of started. We really built Colourlab AI initially to accelerate the whole dailies workflow. And and it's going to be really interesting. I want to show you first, how we're going to be working on set with an application called LiveGrade. And if you're DIT, you're 100% familiar with it. It's the standard on-set grading application. Then also I'm going to show you how you can use Colourlab to develop creative looks. So, Colourlab is really good for that. You can, first develop mood boards, and then from those mood boards develop looks, and then, you can actually go and grade your dailies even in Colourlab, which is, what many people today are using it for, to accelerate all this dailies workflow. And then even you can render out from Colourlab. Sometimes, you don't really need to go back to DaVinci or anything else. You can actually just, go straight, from Colourlab, upload to the cloud your daily. So really, really interesting workflows. And yes, I'm going to leave enough time for you and for your questions. So please feel free. I'm checking all the time the chat, and I can see we have someone from North Carolina. Very good. And Darren is with us. Hey, Darren, good to see you again. Good to see you. And then we have someone from Kenya. Very good. Very good, guys. Super good, super cool to see you. Hi, everybody. Okay, let's go. So we're going to start first with a LiveGrade integration. So here we go. Here is my LiveGrade Pro, right? And you need to be on Pro if you want to work with Colourlab. I have now on the same computer also Colourlab open. And in our fashion, they try to make these things and integrations so simple for you. Well, only thing that you need to do in Colourlab, you have to click here on Preferences, okay? And then, there we go, this is the preferences, you click on that, and then you go onto your toolbar. Okay, so once you're in the toolbar, you're then gonna go and select, LiveGrade. So now there we go, toolbar, my mouse got stuck a little bit sticky. So what I did now is I have disabled, Final Cut and Premiere this time just so they don't clutter my toolbar, right? So you can really configure depending what you do. Most DITs, that we know and work with, they would kind of work, with LiveGrade and Resolve maybe, maximum. So basically I'm just gonna say always show live push for, LiveGrade. Okay, so once you do that, so basically think about this. So now you have, a stream coming from your camera on set, okay? And you need to have one of those kind of Blackmagic interfaces that are going to be capturing the stream at the same time. I don't have that connected, so what I did is I just loaded the shot. So you can do that as well. You can just load a shot, but most of the times what you do is you actually kind of are monitoring live feed from the camera. And at the moment it's just a log, signal coming through. And now what you do is you just go to Colourlab AI, and then you say fetch from LiveGrade, and you just press that. And really, that's all you need to do. We do all the work in the background. This is the magic of API. This is basically why we love APIs, because they are just this programming language that allow you to connect, with your application that you want to interact with. All right. So now I say, yeah, this is it, and straight away it recognizes that it's an array signal, and it's gonna say, hey, here you go. There is your 709. Okay, but I don't really want to work like this. Of course, I want to go and apply some sort of look. So what I do, I can go into my looks. I can then just go and choose from my library something that I really like. So maybe the Melrose Oak. Let's say this is the look that I want. Okay. And also maybe I want to make it a little warmer. Why not? Let's kind of make it like a hot summer afternoon. So there we go. So I just used the show LUT. I have then, applied my CDL here. By the way, I could also just use, my kind of some sort of auto match feature, that would go and balance things. I could bring shots from, previous scene. I'll show you that in a minute. But let's say I just made an adjustment. I'm really happy with this look. So what you do now is you go to push to LiveGrade. Okay, so you just go and press that. And the moment, okay, do you want to save? I don't want to save it at the moment. It's okay. I'm just demoing. And now it basically pushed it to the LiveGrade. So what you get in LiveGrade is, check it out. So you get your offset power and slope. So we translated your lift gamma gain to offset power and slope, to the kind of traditional CDL values. Okay, and also we have applied the show LUT that you have used for you. And in the moment you press the button push, in that particular moment the whole set got updated with this particular look. So now basically everybody, is seeing exactly this look that you just created. And it's by far easier, to use Colourlab to do these fine tweaks and adjustments. The interface is just a little bit kind of, smoother. And also you have all the AI matching tools and everything that you can build. So you can really work just a little bit more elegantly, a little bit faster. Okay. Now, another situation that, this has been used a lot is, let's say, for example, we have now a second camera, okay? And the second camera happened to be red camera. Oh my God, so there we go. So there is a second camera now. And, this camera now, I'm just going to load into my kind of camera A, for example, right? No, I need to go. Do I need to empty this guy? Come on, check, AB. Do I need to do an AB? 1 second. I need to probably recycle it a little bit. Excellent. Remove image. There we go. Now I should be able to do it. Excellent. Perfect. So now I have a shot that's coming from the second camera. Okay? So what I do now is, that's always a problem on set. You have two cameras, you need to match them, you need to apply the same look to them. Okay? So what you do is this. So you're now in Colourlab AI, and you want to actually go and you want to save this look that you have just created. And all you need to do then is just need to go and press this, create AI reference, this kind of, the fingerprint button. Okay, so now we have got this look, and I'm just also going to go and favorite it, so I don't have to go and search for it too much. I know that's in my favorites. Okay, now I do again fetch from LiveGrade, right? So what happened now is, now the second shot came through, right? There we go, here it is. And now we have to go and say, okay, I need to now match these two shots. I need to be able to go and compare them and make them look exactly the same. All right. First thing, go and make sure that this is red camera. It is not. It says still here it's ARRI. Okay, so I'm going to go click here and I'm going to change the IDT. That's very important. We learned last time for matching, unless you really set this up correctly, the matching doesn't really work, right? So we're going to go and say, okay, this is red, white, gamut. RGB, perfect. Okay, now this is my reference, and I'm just gonna go and apply this reference to this shot, and one click, and we matched it. Now these two basically shots are in the same look, same match, same feel. This is really what you need on set, because Set is the most expensive part of filmmaking, right? Sometimes a minute can cost thousands of dollars. This is the minimum, like if you think about it, like you have a whole crew, everybody there, and now everybody has to wait on you, the IT, to go and adjust the look of the second camera, and there is no time for that. So the reason why the ITs really use Colourlab AI is just for that reason, because they don't really have time now to manually sit there, use live gamma gain controls and fiddle around. They don't have time. They just want to click once, match the shot. Okay, now we matched it. Now we're just going to go push it back to LiveGrade again. Bang, we did it. And straight away in a LiveGrade, you get everything again. You get the same show light and the CDL. And in that moment, all the monitors on set got updated and you have things really working like that. So this is just such a huge time saver for everybody. First of all, it takes a lot of pressure off of the IT, because it takes many years of experience of grading on set and adjusting, CDLs and LUTs before you become so good in matching cameras and stuff like this. And you just really feel like, you should use a machine really to help you with that and, just accelerate this workflow. So yeah, as I said, super easy, super nice, working with LiveGrade on set and Colourlab AI. Okay, so now I'm back. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Janos is with us. Good to see you, Janos. hello. And we have Alex from Paris. Jeffrey said send some recording. Okay. Oh my God, Ekene from Nigeria is here as well. Good to see you guys. Very good. Good to see you all. Alrighty. Let me know if you have any questions, anything that is very particular for you that you want to learn, that it's important, anything that you'd like to know. This is your time. It's called AMA for a reason. Feel free just to ping me on the chat and I'm going to try to read it and answer any of questions you have. Otherwise, I'm just moving on to the next chapter, to the next part, which is going to be to show you how you can use Colourlab AI to develop looks. So let's say you're a cinematographer, or what they also call sometimes camera owner, operator. You're shoot stuff for people with your own equipment, and you want to do a little bit more than just turn up with camera. You kind of want to do a little bit better service than that. You want to offer your clients some look development, really control over your dailies, not just hand them over like just a log footage and hope that somebody somewhere at their company or whoever is going to be tasked with editing is going to do a job. You really, want to shoot with a clear intent to what look you want to, give to your material, and you want to be able to communicate that look clearly with everybody, and also be able to pass on all the color metadata that you need in order for somebody else to be able to pick up that look, or even be able to create graded dailies for people to review to see what you did. Okay, so basically that would be kind of the workflow for the moment. Then I have a question from Justin. How would you see a live being used on LED volume or green screen? Very good question, Justin. We already have customers who are using it. There is a production in Glasgow, in Edinburgh going on at the moment that is using it exactly like that. What they are using it for is that they basically have a reference images from all the previous days of shoots, and that they can then use to match the current, lighting scenario, or the current, the look in camera to what they have as references. So that basically, they have a consistency, that every day they have a dailies that are kind of or shots that are looking in line to what is the reference look or what they're trying to create. So that is a really cool way how to do it. And basically again we just link it with LiveGrade, and then LiveGrade links with a engine that they're using for playback on virtual screens. Then Michael is asking a question. Do you think we could have DSC Labs charts integration? Michael, we could, but you know, like there's very, very few people who are using it, you know, like so if you want to connect with me, you know, afterwards, you know, just drop me an email and I can discuss this with you, why, and you want to use DSC Labs charts and why do you think they're better than the standard Macbeth chart. I'm super happy to, you know, discuss this. So far, you know, we've been able to accomplish everything just with the Macbeth, you know, so match camera, measure mid-gray, whatever else we needed to do, you know, it's in Macbeth. So we haven't necessarily had this request done, but if you can help me understand the advantage of DSC Labs chart, then I'm happy to, you know, see what we can do. Then I have a Nikhil. He says, what is the pipeline on set in terms of the machines, software involved with multiple camera involved for those of us who are not familiar with the setup? Nikhil, you need a MacBook laptop, basically. You know, I'm using one of those M1s, right? That's all you need. You need that laptop. You install a LiveGrade and Colourlab AI on the same machine. And then what you need is you need the lookup table boxes, right? There is several of them. There is, you know, some boxes that are made by Flanders. There are boxes that are made by Teradek, and so on. So depending really, you need a box that is going to be able to load a lot and transform an SDI signal in real time to that look that you just applied. And that's basically what LiveGrade is handling. So you connect to LiveGrade. Let me just actually show you how that works, right? So what you do is this. You go and you connect to LiveGrade these boxes. Okay, so this box is actually like, you know, like a box that is going to receive the final, you know, grade as in a form of a lookup. Even though your metadata is always CDL and LUT, the box usually loads everything combined into single LUT, and that gets pushed into the box converts it in real time, everybody sees it. And the third thing you need is you also need a like a Blackmagic interface device, right? So you need just something, you know, like that is going to take the signal off the camera and it's going to give you that signal inside the software. So that's a kind of a separate device. And what most people have as a third device, and this is usually sits in like a rack, you know, you have like a 3, you know, 1U units. The third unit is a video switcher. So you don't want to like basically have to go and plug manually cables. So you have like at the beginning of this job, you plug all of your things into a patch, and then you have a video switcher with whom you can quickly just, you know, patch camera A into the lookup table box into input camera B and so on. It's just one press of the button. And that's pretty much the setup. You don't really need anything than that. You know, you need a nice cot, of course, you know, that you be able to wheel it around, you know, and off you go, you know, it's simple as that. Alrighty. So next question is for Avinash. Ask a question. I have one question that can we use Blackmagic Ultra Studio Monitor 3G on OLED C1s? If yes, then Monitor 3G is 2K and 10p and C1 is 4K. That's correct. So Avinash, you can use it absolutely, and you can monitor HDR using that interface, but it is going to be in HD. It's true. It's going to be in HD, but you know, that's not end of the world. You know, like, you know, you have the same color, you know, precision that you would normally get from 4K. You just don't have the resolution. So is this a real problem? Or maybe if you're not finishing in 4K, you know, if you just need to render HD output, that's absolutely fine. So I think you're going to be absolutely good to work like that. But if you do need to now go out to 4K master, I do recommend you get some 4K interface so you really see, you know, what 4K is going to look like. Because, yeah, you'll be surprised. Sometimes things like, you know, just look a little bit different. There's sometimes, you know, more detail in focus and stuff like this in 4K that you don't necessarily see in HD and stuff. So, you know, you definitely should have a 4K interface if you want to master to 4K. But otherwise, you know, you'll be absolutely fine to work like that. Okay, Linus has a question. Hey Dado, I was wondering, what's the difference between Colourlab AI and the neural engine in DaVinci Resolve AI? Thank you for good streams. Okay, very good question. So this is a very, very good question. So Linus, let me actually really explain that for you. Like, so basically, this is what's happening. All right. So basically, there is like a, so let me first start like this. So the neural engine, right, what it really does, it kind of analyzes a single frame of reference that you position your playback on. So when you actually go to match something with a neural engine, that neural engine is just going to go and analyze that particular frame. Okay, and that is okay as long as you park things onto that particular frame. But most cases, what you really want to do is you want to analyze the whole content of that shot that you're trying to match, and then find out what would be the ideal kind of setting for that shot, because things change, things move in a shot. An actor might start here, finish here, camera moves like that, and you really need to understand, hey, is this look that I'm matching really going to be relevant to everything? So that's number one. Number two, the technology that we use is by far more advanced than what the neural engine does. So number one, what we do is we will first go and analyze the content of the shot. So you probably have seen that when you, for example, create an AI reference, with Colourlab AI, that you get this kind of metadata automatically created. So it tells you, hey, this is a close-up, this is an exterior, and this is a day. Okay? This information is essential for matching engine, right? Because you don't match the shots in the same way if my reference is interior, wide, let's say day, and I'm matching to close-up exterior day. So what I will be matching is completely different, right? I'm not matching the same thing, I'm matching two things differently. So this is why we need to first analyze, hey, what's the content of the shot? What is it that I'm matching, in order to adjust your matching engine to perform the match to the best possible ability based on what the content of your references and your matches. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing that we do is something completely different. So what we do is we actually don't match actual images. What we do is we match fingerprints. Okay, so what we do is we reduce the image, what is really content in image, into a very small fingerprint effectively. It's like a similar technology that is used in Shazam. So have you ever wondered how is this possible that you Shazam a song and that song suddenly after 2 seconds gets recognized amongst millions and millions and millions of songs? And the reason why they can do it is because they're not really comparing the actual sound recording, they're comparing fingerprints. So we use the same trick. So we are basically fingerprinting your image, and then we distribute this, comparison and analysis amongst, group of shots as well, if you want to group the whole timeline, but also that allows us to create more than one matching version. Okay, so what happens is this: when you match something with DaVinci Resolve, you get a match. Okay, and that's it. That's the match. Tough luck. You can't do anything with it, right? Here, what we do is you can just press enter, and then we get the whole range of options. And why we can calculate, not just why we can do this, is because we have fingerprinting running in the background, so we can run several scenarios to what would be the best match. Not just, hey, this is a match. No, we're giving you options to what you think could be the best match and how this match would perform. So that's number two difference, okay? Now, by the way, because we're fingerprinting as well, we can match multiple shots at the same time, because we can just run this matching in parallel, so it's by far faster, right? Number three as well, what is happening is that we don't really, if you match in DaVinci, you get a node, and that node says, oh, this is your match, okay? And you don't know really how it matched. You don't really see what happened. You just have a node that made some color change, but you can't do anything with it. You can't modify it or do anything with it. Whereabout our matching engine operates actual CDL controls, okay? So you're not just limited to say, hey, thank you for matching. You can actually see how it got matched, and you can actually go and perform little tweaks. And that's really, what you want, because, you're a colorist, you're not just a kind of somebody who presses buttons, says, hey, whatever, like match. You want to kind of have an idea how this got matched, what matched, how it's working, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, so this is number three. Number four, in Colourlab AI, you have all the AI references, right? And these AI references, for example, SmartLots, are incredibly powerful, you know, because they're basically, you don't have it in any other system. This is only available to you in Colourlab, and you can basically use the power of fingerprinting and our image processing engine to go and create, you know, all sorts of different looks, you know, because it's not just applying a LUT or a look. What you're doing effectively is you are creating, you know, some sort of, you know, a new way of you know, recording your idea or your vision to what look is supposed to be. So you're not just, you know, applying a look, but you're checking and making sure that look corresponds to what you really wanted to have. So this is another thing, you know, that is completely different. So, you know, think about it. It's just a completely different level, you know, like, you know, the neural engine is just kind of doing a little kind of comparison of two frames and, you know, gives you some result. This is, you know, by far more advanced and developed system that is, you know, and also performs much better. If you are like to compare, like, oh, how did, you know, this one match and this one matched, you'll see, you know, that, you know, you get much superior results using Colourlab AI than anything else out there. And that includes also the Premiere Auto Match and, you know, any other Auto Match, because, you know, that's what we specialized in. That's what we do. Exactly, yeah. So I hope that answered your question. All right, see. So then I have a Barry who says, can you post a link to the LUT boxes? I can actually, not sure if Marcella is still online. Marcella, do you mind just, you know, finding, you know, that it's called, I think, Box.io from Flanders. You know, that's a really good one. You know, so you can basically use that, or you can just use something called Color from Teradek. You know, that's the one I used to have because it was also wireless. It worked really, really well. Alex is there. Hey, Dado, with DaVinci Resolve Sync, is there a trick to set the color pipeline with the ODT at the timeline level? Yes, there is, Alex. So basically what you do, right? What you do is this, you know, I'm not going to go and open it now, the whole DaVinci for you, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So, for example, what you do, when you basically push back to DaVinci, instead of selecting here ODT as Rec 709, what I would recommend, the best workflow, is you go and you select Alexa Wide Gamut Log C. You select that one, okay? So what you actually are going to push is your full grade, everything, but your clip is going to remain in ARRI Log C. And look, it doesn't matter if your cameras are not ARRI Log C, because your IDT, your grading, your showlights, they're all inside ARRI Log C, because this is our native color space. We calculate everything in that color space. And then what you do, then you put on timeline level color space transform or look designer plugin that's going to go from ARRI Log C to Rec 709 or from ARRI Log C to HDR, whatever you want to do. Okay, so that means that what you're pushing back to DaVinci is scene referred timeline in log, and then you are still able then to decide later to, you know, how you want this to happen. So that's a you know, a really, really, you know, useful feature. Okay. Alrighty, so Nikhil has a question. I got a yearly license for the past 2 years, etc. from the very beginning, but prefer perpetual license, not available back then. I reached out on the admin email to get one, but haven't heard back. Okay, very good. Nikhil, do you mind emailing me again if you never, anytime it happens that you don't hear back? By the way, the best email for us is always help@Colourlab AI. All right, so this is the best email. So always go and start here, because we are kind of channeling all our conversations through this particular, you know, we have a system that monitors this inbox and, you know, opens cases and assigns cases to different people. So we are really able to manage it. So if you made a request, it will be locked in and it won't be forgotten. It won't just be disappearing in some sort of inbox. No, it's going to basically go through Colourlab AI. Then it's going to say, hey, there is this request. It's open. And then we basically work on it to close it, right? So it's just a way how you manage all these requests. So please just go and email help@colourlab.ai that is going to, we're going to then, log into it, and then most likely Mark is going to be in touch with you and is going to allow you to make that change, okay? No problem. If you want to go perpetual, no problem. We have allowed it now to do. So it was usually available only to our enterprise clients. Now anybody can go and buy it. Okay. Hey, Chris says, late to the party here. Can you have multiple timelines in the same Colourlab project, or do you have to save new project for each timeline? Chris, this is exactly right. You have to save each project. Okay. So there is only one timeline. And the limitation why we have it like this, Chris, is because usually your timeline is linked to some sort of external timeline, okay? So that we don't kind of, because you kind of grade, you move timeline from one, system like Premiere, Final Cut, or DaVinci, you grade and you send back. You grade and you send back. So this is why having a single timeline is really important. Okay, however, Chris, you're not limited. You could have multiple timelines share the same looks, because have a look. If you go now and look and scroll down inside your AI references, right? And if you scroll down, right, what you're going to get is you're going to get every project that you ever worked on, and you're going to get the folder of all the looks, all the showlots of all the references that you have had for that particular project. So it means that, you are not like just limited, hey, I opened a new project and I lost everything I did before. No, you can actually go and look of anything that you have kind of fingerprinted. Everything is saved for you, so you can start, from here again. And I want to show you another really cool trick. Look, so let's say, for example, I'm on this shot. Okay, let me just go back to Rec 709 so that you guys can see an image that looks relatively decent. Okay, there we go. All right, so look at this now. So you say, oh my God, I know I had this shot in previous project, previous day, previous timeline, right? I remember, or something like that. So what you do here is you go AI references and you look at here, and there is something called suggested, okay? You just click on suggested, and look, it's gonna dig out anytime you ever graded this similar shot, or if it's the same shot in any of the projects ever, anytime you ever created, a look with it, it's gonna find it for you from in your database, and it's gonna display it here for you. So you can just go and say, hey, maybe should I just, use this look, right? So I could just go and say, all right, let's go and apply this one, oh, how's this gonna look? Fantastic. Or maybe this one's better. Yeah, let me go and try this one, right? So you basically have like a full, and by the way, this has got nothing to do with the metadata of the file. This is purely to do with the visual information. This is that power of fingerprinting I told you about, guys. Like when you fingerprint something, you just have a great ability to go find it and dig it. And even though these projects you did, weeks ago, they're still, these references are available to you, and you can just go and use them, to your liking, and you can just go and dig them out. So that way you're not just limited that you say, oh, I did this grade in this project, but I can't now continue with that grading in a new project. You can just bring all these references from previous projects and so be able to work like that. Okay, so that's a really, really cool trick. Okay, another question from Chris. Is there a function that works as a remote grading within Colourlab? In one of my timelines, it auto-copied in another, and it did not. So you mean that basically you kind of recognize the same clip and you can grab it from one timeline to another. Chris, there isn't really anything like that. We don't have anything that's going to automatically recognize your clip like that. The closest, you can, within the same project, we have everything, timelines and stuff like this. But I said, this kind of suggested, look is probably the closest you can get to it, because that can just show you, how, this particular, if it's any similarity, if this is the same shot, it will 100% appear in suggested, right? And then you can basically use it like that. And by the way, you don't have to just use it like too much. What you can do is you can just right mouse click, right? And you can say copy AI reference to selected shots. So what's going to do is just going to use exactly, the same setting you had on previous shot, and it's just going to copy it onto your new shot. And that way you have exactly the same effect as if you did this remote grade that you're trying to do, right? Okay, Justin is here. Hey Justin, can you explain the difference between Colourlab Pro and Colourlab Studio? Very good question. So look, Justin, Colourlab Pro is a standalone application that has all the bells and whistles. So it has all the AI and it has a look design as well. Okay? Colourlab Studio is the same application. In addition, it has the plugins, and you get free plugins. Number one, you get Look Designer for DaVinci Resolve, and that one works both on Windows and Mac and Linux. Okay? Then you get the GrainLab plugin, which is a very, very specific, very fine, grain generator. That also works for all, Windows, Linux, and Mac. And the third one now is you get Look Designer for Adobe, and if you actually combine the value of all of those plugins, you're already saving, I don't know, I forgot now, but more than half to what would it cost if you were to buy them individually. So this is the difference between Colourlab Pro and Colourlab Studio. This is the main difference, okay? Alrighty, thanks for previous answers, says Alex. Alex says, as the Blackmagic panels don't work with Colourlab Ai, what actual or forthcoming panel would you recommend? Actual panel right now is called Tangent. That's really what we use at the moment. This is what you find most people who don't work with DaVinci are using. And they have several options. They have the little mini one. They have a TK. They have a Wave. So you have a lot of choice there. And then we are working on integration of brand new controllers. So I can't really say exactly what they are, but we are working on a new type of controllers that I feel are absolutely coolest thing ever. So we're going to integrate that, in a due future. But, for the moment, if you want to have a controllers, please, just stick to Tangent. It works plug and play. You don't have to do anything. You just connect to it. I'll show you as well. Basically, if you now go into your, so here I am, Colourlab AI preferences, right? You go into preferences. And inside the preferences, you have a selection here called controllers, right? And you just say tangent input enabled. And there we go. You basically are done. Whatever tangent panel is installed, it's just going to automatically recognize it, and you're going to be able to start working with it. So no problem at all. Alrighty, cool. Let's go next one. Tyler is here. Hey, Tyler. I'm a camera. I often expose to the right, which means I correct exposure in post. What nit value does 18% grade need to live in Rec 2020 PQ timeline? So it is around 29 to 30 nits, basically. So that's where it needs to be. Okay, so Tyler, so let me show you how you're gonna do that. So let me just show you this. So what you would do is following. There is a much more elegant way of how you want to work, than just kind of, what you're trying to do. You're absolutely correct for exposing to the right. I love that. That's kind of where I always say to my cinematographers I worked with is I always say, hey, let's rate your camera, a stop lower so that we just get a little bit more exposure. Okay, so, but let me show you how you do it with Colourlab Ai. There's a really elegant way how to do it. Check this out. So I'm going to go and say, okay, I want to be HDR. So you click here and you go Rec 2100 PQ1000. The Rec 2100 PQ1000 is actually Rec 2020, but this is a kind of, an updated version of that. Okay, so but this is your kind of Rec 2020 PQ1000. Otherwise, what I really recommend for you is actually to use this P3D65 Limited. This is better way of working, I think. I really feel that it's easier to work in Rec 2020, but to limit your output to P3 just because you get better consistency amongst different HDR screens. Okay, let me actually use this one because it's just so now you're in PQ. You just select yourself PQ. Automatically, right? Oh, it should have happened. My scopes should have gone into the PQ mode, but they're not at the moment, right? So not sure why they didn't switch to PQ mode. All right, never mind. I'm going to check that this is a little bug I think we have here. Okay, cool. But what you do then is this. You switch to EL zones, okay? So now you are viewing scene referred signal. You are viewing actual stops of exposure in your camera, nothing to do with your display. So Tyler, you're probably gonna have this, you know, kind of face a little bit over, isn't it? Because you're exposing to the right. So all you need to do then is you need to click on the target. You click on the target here and you highlight the face, okay? Now that you highlight the face, look, now the exposure of the face has been corrected. So the gray, which is your 0, right, is now in the right spot. Now you have actually brought down, you know, your exposure. And that is actually going to adjust your mid-gray to 29 nits automatically, right? This is also going to happen automatically. And now if I look at it again, there we go. There is my, you know, shot basically graded so that my face is exposed to 0. But you don't have to stick to that. You can just click here on these numbers here, and you can say, well, actually, I do want to underexpose this face a little bit. I want to go stop lower. Then you just click -1, and then we bring the whole thing down. Okay, so that's basically another way to how you can actually, you know, oh, I know, I understand what the problem is. Wait. I have to go Rec 2100. Now it works. All right. So I found it. Okay, so this particular profile is new, so it doesn't trigger at the moment the color management, but let me actually show you. So what you do is this. If you selected Rec 2100 PQ1000, right, what actually happened then, I switched my scopes to nit values, okay? You see how they are now showing you nit. But also another thing we do, we automatically color manage your screen. So even though you're outputting PQ through your SDI output on your desktop, you are seeing whatever you have selected here. So if you go here, Colourlab AI, and you go into preferences, and then you go into your color, okay, here you can select your display color space. And my color space is sRGB, because that's the display I'm working on. So Colourlab automatically basically color manages your HDR output to look down converted for SDR to what your screen is capable of doing. So now you can actually really see, you know, the way how things look. Okay, let's go back. So Tyler, hopefully I answered your question. Much easier to work with Ed Lachman zones, Tyler. You know, they're really there exactly for you to be able to go and control your mid-gray like that. Okay, Chris. Amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Very good, Chris. Good to see. Good. I'm glad I was able to help. Tim and Karen. Alexander. Hey, I still want my second monitor output. Tim and Karen. Okay. You guys, I have to tell you, like, you know, this is not a big problem for us, but the problem about if you want to have a second monitor output, the best option for you is to get one of those Blackmagic $120 kind of, you know, Ultra Studio Minis, they're called, I think. And you plug that into your computer, the output from that mini in the second monitor, and then you have your second monitor output, okay? And the reason why we prefer that method is because then we know that we are sending you the right color output to it. If I was just to give you like a full screen on another monitor, it would be nightmare for us to be able to tell you, hey, this is color accurate, because we don't know exactly what's the second monitor, and we don't have any way to find out what it is, and so on and so on and so on. So there is a lot of, like, you know, downside to it, but, you know, we're not against it. You know, we have definitely all the performance in the application that we could have a full screen playback on another monitor just through your kind of computer connection. But right now, you know, if you really care about precision of color, I would really recommend just get one of these little boxes. You know, what you then do is you just basically go here, right, in preferences, again, Colourlab AI, right, preferences, okay, and then you have here video output, right, and then in this video output, you just select your Blackmagic device that is connected. Again, it's all plug and play. The moment you install the device, it will recognize it. You can select it here. I don't have anything connected at the moment, so it doesn't show here. And then basically you are off, you're good to go. You have a basically full screen output, color managed as well. You know, you are basically sending correct, accurate signal. So I really think that this is a great solution for you at the moment, Alex. Tim and Karen. Alex says, will you add RCM to Colourlab working spaces? Never, Alex, never. Resolve color management. Of course. Sorry. I thought you said RCM. I thought about red. Actually, you can do that already, Tim. Look. You can do that already. The way how that works is you go here. So when you are, let's say you did all the matching and now you want to push back to resolve, right? Instead of like what I did earlier, I selected Arilog C and I suggested use that. You don't have to do that. Not at all. Look, you just scroll down and there is a setting called DaVinci Wide Gamut. There we go. This is your RCM. This is your RCM2 effectively, like Resolve Color Managed. You just select this and now you are in Resolve Color Managed. So now if you're using Resolve Color Management, the output for Colourlab, you just have to tell it what Colourlab is sending is DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate. So basically this is kind of that RCM color space. So you can do that already now, absolutely, no problem. Okay, great. The next one thing is we have Nikhil. Are there any inexpensive monitors you recommend for a DIT card? Nikhil, I don't think you are winning by getting an inexpensive monitor because you really on set need something that's robust, that's not going to break down after one day job. And you need something that's also accurate because the whole idea of having you on set and why you are there is to create some sort of confidence in the image, right? That, your job is not just, hey, I want to apply a look. Your job is also to be able to, confidently look at the cinematographer and director and say, hey, this is your look. So what I would say majority of the ITs is using is Flanders Scientific. And economical version is to go to a smaller version of their monitor, right? So you go not the big one, 30 inches or whatever, you get 24-inch monitor and you start with that. And that's, I would say, well, is it the most economical? I think so, yeah, because that monitor is going to last you for years and you're going to have a top professional monitor. There is nothing better on set that you can get than one of those Flanders DMs. I think that's the number, right? They are really like, you can't get better than that. And the money that they charge, it's fair, it's not like that they are taking a Mickey with these prices, they are really trying to make it as economical as possible. So I would do that. I wouldn't just, try to save money on that monitor because, that's the only thing that you can't really save money on because you need that. You need a monitor, you need the confidence, right? Okay, good. Next question. Justin asked a question. Last week I asked about alpha channels for green screen. Yes, I remember. You said you would think about this and would the plugins inside Resolve work on a... okay, so first of all, we have discussed this. And the way how we're going to do this is that we're going to start supporting alpha channel. So Justin, what you do is you basically, as long as you have a media sending to us that has an alpha, we will allow that alpha to be recognized. Now, this is scheduled for development. When this exactly is going to happen, I can't tell you, but we have decided that we're going to do this. Okay, what is a workaround for you at the moment, if you want to, what you can do is you can, instead of basically sending your actual green screen shots, what you can do is you can key the green and turn that green into black, because anything that's black we ignore. Anything that's a black we don't look at. So if you, as long as you send, instead of green screen, black background, the engine's going to perform absolutely perfectly accurate to be able to match everything. I know it's a not ideal scenario, but it's a workaround, Justin, and you can basically, see whether that helps you. Sometimes, some kind of, they say improvisation is mother of all invention, and this is exactly that type of solution. Tyler has a question. Wonderful, excellent. And are there any plans to support ProRes RAW footage in Colourlab AI? Yes, there is, actually. Tyler, if you want, connect with us and we're going to give you a beta of that. We're actually just in the final stages of because there is a certain approval process we have to go through. We have it supported, but because we officially haven't gone through all of this approval process, it's not been built in. But if you do want to have a build and you want to test it out, we'd be happy to share this with you. So please get in touch via help@colourlab.ai and we'll help you to kind of get a little build that supports that, and you can also do some testing. Yeah, I have that, but it has a delay. Tim, that's very strange that your thingy has a delay, because no, mine doesn't. Why does it have a delay? That's really strange. Interesting. Okay, that's something we should look into it. You shouldn't have a really delay on those devices. Those devices are able to process everything inside a single frame. But okay, we'll see why that's happening. Alrighty, Nikhil says, is there a way to know if you're pushing to grade too far and the image will break apart on a large screen even if it's not visible on a small screen? Yes, Nikhil. So the way how to do it is to look at it on a bigger screen. You know, Nikhil, that comes to you with an experience. You know, Nikhil, when you like you know, start grading, it's normal that you start making mistakes, that you're pushing things too far. Everybody did it. Every single colorist, you know, when they started, they have been pushing it too far. It's a nature of the beast. You know, you basically, you know, have these tools and you use them and you're pushing it. So one thing that I normally teach is that you always do this 10% rule. You adjusted the look and you think this is your look, you go 10% down, basically, right? So what I would normally do is, let me show you, like if I be you and I be worried, hey, is this now gonna be too far or not, right? Let me just go back to Rexona 9 here. You think like, is this too far or not, or whatever is gonna happen? Look, you come here to show look and you just bring this show look down, like this. And you see, now I have reduced the intensity of that look, okay? And that is the way how you can be safe, protect yourself, that you are not pushing it too far. And especially like at the beginning, this is what I recommend you do. Always go like a 10% lower. It's not gonna harm, it's just gonna help. Like, so don't try to push things too hard, because you will, it's natural, you are going to. Okay, Chris says, Flanders sells the monitors they use at NAB at discount. Check. Yeah, that's a great tip from Chris. Excellent. Justin has a question. Yes, for Alpha Channel, thank you for working on this, and thank you for all the work around. No problem. Excellent, guys. Alrighty. So let me now go and show you how you can use Colourlab AI to do some look development. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So I love this website, and I hope you guys are familiar with it, which is called ShotDeck, okay? And what I do, for example, I go to ShotDeck, right? And I go to just a kind of browse shots, you know, let's say in this case. And I'm gonna go here in selection. I'm gonna say, give me some exterior shots only, okay? And I want it to be daytime, you know, so time of day, right? I want it to be day, okay? I think, you know, like, do I want a heavy lab process? No, not frame size, composition, lenses, lighting. Okay, the rest of the thing is pretty much, you know, kind of fine. I don't really want to worry about everything else. Okay, cool. So what I do then is I basically go and I say, okay, I'm going to build you know, a lookbook, right? So I'm going to go through images that are kind of sparking my imagination, okay? And I'm gonna go and just add them to my basically lookbook. Okay, so this is all the stuff that I feel is kind of, you know, like a relevant to what we are trying to, the look that we're trying to build here. Okay, all right. So let's say this is all kind of my stuff. Oh my God, I love this one as well, but I don't know if it's the right for the look or not. Okay, here we go. Let's say one more. Just give me one more so that I have a little bit more option. Should we have a little Deakins? Yeah, a little bit Deakins never hurt anyone. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm basically, you know, added this one, you know, to my Klecha. All right. So what you do then is you go here, right, and then you basically click onto your, you know, onto your basically, you know, deck, right. And you want to then export your deck. Hey, but they changed the interface like a little bit, so let me see now where my decks are. Okay, decks. Here we go. So we have a decks, and this is my Klecha deck. Check it out. So I collected few images for that. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and click on these three dots here, and I'm gonna export it. Okay, and I want to download it as a zip of full shots, and before you know it, it actually exported them, and here they are. They are all now in this kind of folder. Let me just open it with my archive utility. Perfect. So now this is all here. Okay. Then what you do is you go to Colourlab AI, And in Colourlab AI, you click here on the in AI references, and you click on plus. And on plus, you say import AI references, okay? And then I'm gonna go to my downloads, okay? And then in my downloads, there is my Klecha, and I'm just gonna go and select these. Perfect. So now what I did is I basically imported these references. And on the import, we turn these references into basically, you click here on imported, there we go. And then instead of alphabetical, you say recently used, right? And you're gonna get all of those that you just imported. All right, so now what I did is I have turned them from still images into AI references. So what the first thing we do is we fingerprint it. We analyze the color palette that is used in the shot, because that's another kind of difference that I was trying to explain earlier. What's the difference between, Da Vinci matching and the matching? We really do a little bit more work preparation for you, right? We also have analyzed the content of the shot. We said this is a close-up interior day, and look, it says already it's a warm look, so it really knows that's what's happening as well. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and say, okay, let's create a new mood board. So I click here on plus again, and I say create new mood board. So, and I'm going to go call this mood board Klecha. Okay, so now I'm in Klecha. Now I can just go and drag these shots that I want to be part of my mood board, and I want to just drag them in, okay, and just kind of, have them there as my kind of, okay, I can also shift click on all of them like this, right? And I don't have to do it in one by one, and I'm just going to go drag them and so. So now I have a mood board built, which is called Klecha, which is a mood board just for this movie, all right? So what I can do now is I can then use these references as a starting point to start building a look. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and click on side by side, and let's say, okay, this is like some sort of deep green. So let's see how that's gonna look. So it's really, sometimes I just kind of, do a little trial and error like this, I just kind of go and try things out. And I go like, okay, which one of those is kind of giving me the closest feel to what I really want to kind of, you have something in your mind, some imagination, what you think, oh, this one feels really good. This is the kind of look that I feel it's the right look. Okay, now what I normally do is I use this as a starting point. I only use these references just to bring me into some sort of ballpark, because you see it just moved CDL controls for me. Right? Then what I do is I go and click on look design. And you know what? We're going to have a separate AMA stream which is going to be dealing just with the look. This is such a big territory. This is a huge part where professional colorists are using Colourlab AI. They are less using Colourlab AI to do matching. They're more using it to develop the look. Why? Is because they have this incredible film emulation, which is not just film emulation, it's really like a subtractive color science adapted, to your digital camera workflow. Okay, so what I do normally is I say, well, I want to print it to a stock, and by the way, there is a stock that I want to introduce you to, which is called Kodak 2383 by MPF, motion picture film. This is the one I announced in this update, and it's absolutely stunning. Like how this stock looks like is just crazy, Look at that. I'm just gonna go and show you like 709. Like it's just really, really amazing how that stock looks. And then also I'm gonna go and apply like a little filmic contrast, right? So I'm gonna put a little F1 to it, because, but actually, you know what? I can actually go to like a print. So I have a Kodak. KO stands for Kodak, right? So I can go and apply actual contrast that is, normally on 2383. I can also use some of the subtractive color science, to maybe, rebalance a little bit things. What this is doing, this is like emulating the density changes in your film emulsions, right? We can do a little bit push and pull, right? And there we go. Let's say this is my look, okay? Now I go back into my grade, and I have my look kind of, applied to it. I'm ready for it. This is kind of my hero, my reference, okay? But before I decide, hey, this is the look, what you want to do is you want to communicate this look with a director or, you know, whatever else. You know, you want to kind of make sure, hey, guys, this is what I think we should do. All right? So what you do then is you go to the menu Export. And inside the Export, you say, and you say create look deck PDF. Okay, you can also do this here in your toolbar. There is this kind of icon which says look deck. Okay, you can just click on that as well. Okay, so what's the title? So this is called Klecha. Okay, author is Dado. I want my logo showed. By the way, you can change and put your own logo. Page note, this is a look development day 1. Okay. What is your AI reference? My AI reference, I want it to be Klecha, okay? And do you want to have all scenes? No, I only want to have a current scene only, like, you know, I want to just, you know, have that. Or I could even say none. I'm not interested in that. I only want this particular thing. And then what you say, you write a little note and you say, here is my first attempt, okay? Whatever. Okay, we click now on export. Okay, now it's going to go and put it, on my case, it's going to put it on the desktop. Okay, now it's rendered to PDF. Now check this out. What you do is you go to your desktop and you go and you open the PDF. And this is what it looks like. Check it out. So here you have your project name, your name, the title of the deck that you just created. You're also emphasizing on the color palette that you're using for this particular look. This is my logo, but this should be your logo. You should be putting your logo here, okay? And then you also have supplied your client with the references that you chose for inspiration, okay? And at the end, you have a little love letter, you know, whatever, you know, here is what I'm doing, okay? So this has got two advantages. Number one advantage is that, you know, this is a PDF, so it doesn't suffer for any gamma shifts. Like if I send somebody a still image, the chances are that that image is going to look different if it's a MacBook, if it's MacBook Pro, if it's a Windows, if it's mobile phone, and so on. PDFs don't have that problem. You know, PDFs don't get color managed, so you have actually fixed the look inside the PDF. Second, it looks really professional. Like it looks like, oh my God, I care about your look, and not just that, I really like, you know, I'm paying, you know, I'm making an effort. So you're more likely to get, you know, this look approved and agreed because people take you seriously. It says, okay, this is not just, hey, somebody sent me a still image, this is the look you want. No, I'm really making an effort to help you understand how I developed this look, what this look's supposed to be, and so on. And then you get an approval. They say, hey, oh my God, fantastic. We love it. You know, thank you so much. You know, this is such a lovely look. You say, okay, is it a lovely look? Great. This is now what I'm going to do. Okay. You then go here and then you say export LUT. Then you click on that and you can basically say, okay, now normally for every production, what you need to do is you need to export several LUTs. That's how at least works today. Okay. So first is the size of the LUT. 65-point LUT is really good for post-production. This is what we can use at the moment and we should use at the moment. So what you want to do is you want to say 65 point and you want to give it to be an SDR, because that's what most people who need to do any like a facial effects or anything like that, they're going to want to do this. And not just that, you see that this is using an IDT, it's using your settings and show it, so it has everything kind of, you know, saved. And you click export. I want to export it now, but you get the idea. It's just going to go and create a LUT for you. So all of this look is going to become a show LUT for SDR. But check this out. You want to have in parallel a HDR LUT as well. Okay, so what you do then is you click here where it says Rec 709 and you go and you select, well, I want to go to HDR10 Rec 2020 PQ1000. Bang, you click on that. Now you have converted this particular output to be HDR. Right? So now anybody who opens this shot on HDR monitor and they put this LUT, they're going to get the same look, but in HDR. Okay? Which is an amazing, like a feature that you have both of them. Then, by the way, you can make everything be 33-point LUT as well, because, you know, like this is what's better for in-camera use or something like that. And what you can do as well, you could also export it back as Arilog C, right? So what that means is that, you know, you have a show LUT, but this show LUT doesn't have your display built into it, so you can use it on a timeline level, and then, sorry, on a clip level, use a show LUT, but on a timeline level, then you can choose your own output device transform or whatever else you want to use. And the amount of options here is really big. You know, you can tell you can export to DaVinci Wide Gamut. You can even export it to ACES CCT. You can say make this LUT work for ACES CCT. You have a different versions of Rec 709. RCM2 is if you're going to be using DaVinci's color management. 709 is for Apple devices, and so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. So you really have everything available here for you. So think about it. This is the whole LUT design kind of engine, conversion adaptation engine inside Colourlab AI. So you don't really need any other software to make your show LUTs. You really have everything you need here. And that's a great advantage. You know, that's a really, like, you know, what you want. You want it, and you know what? It's by far faster way of doing things than any other way. Listen, I love, you know, lattice, and I love sometimes to fiddle around with DaVinci to make LUTs as well. But this is by far the easiest and more, you know, like a, you know, fastest way and convenient way to go and build your LUTs that you're going to then send to people, and they're going to be able, you know, to take advantage of that. And then also you have that PDF, so they have like a visual reference, so they can see, hey, has this, you know, looking exactly like the visual reference should do? It does. Very good. We're good to go. Okay. So this is kind of, you know, a really, you know, a cool way of working if you're a cinematographer, camera owner. You have now all the tools for look design and also to export and communicate that look with the rest of the production. Okay, and now I want to show you one more thing, which is basically, let's say, you know, you have a now full timeline of clips, but why don't we just go and do that actually? I'm just going to import some media, and I'm just going to go and bring it here. And so what happened? You just finished the shoot, you know, and you just got everything, you know, like a, you know, back in your timeline, right? And you want to just go and quickly, like, you know, get your dailies graded, okay? So you say, okay, you know, this is now my reference, you know, my reference. I can just go and shift click all of these shots, right? And I can say, hey, go ahead and do my match. So basically it's just going to use your reference that you just created, and it's going to go compare all of the shots, and it's going to do it. And as I said, it does it in parallel, right? It doesn't do it shot by shot. It analyzes the whole timeline, all of the shots. It sees which one would be the best match, you know, how can I stay closest to your reference, and so on and so on. So you basically, you know, have like a quick dailies kind of match applied, so to say, right? I sometimes do this match as well. Sometimes when I kind of think like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I know that, you know, this was basically a look that, you know, has worked and I've been exposing to that look. I also sometimes just copy the look to everything as well. Now, not necessarily do the match, but I just really wanted to show you as well that you can match as well. In any case, you know, this is by far the fastest way to do the dailies, and that's really what most people are using it for in high-end post, is that basically, you know, they need to turn around so many dailies, so they basically just, you know, used our system for that. So then you go and say, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good, everything is looking pretty cool. If I feel like something needs an adjustment, what I do is I just go to my kind of, you know, target tool, and I'm going to say, hey, give me a 0 here, excellent, or maybe I want to go and put it like a plus half a stop up, excellent. Alrighty, this guy is good, this guy is good. Everything seems to be matching. Okay, so now I got things matched. Love it. Now let me go and send to my clients in some sort of Dropbox, Frame.io, whatever you want to do. So what you do now is you say export movie. And here is the trick. We are actually using on M1 hardware, there is a part of the processor that is used for video conversion. So there is actually a CPU kind of, or GPU, how I want to call it, accelerated rendering available in M1, and we tap into it. So what I want to do now is I want to just say, hey, I want to just get, H.264 dailies. It's absolutely fine. I want them to be in HD, and also I want them to be rendered in Rec 709. Okay, I'm also using an in and out points in case I set those. Then I'm going to say start rendering. I have here a little drive that I'm using for all these test renders. Let me just go that, test, okay. And then I'm just going to open a new folder and call it, my dailies, okay. Create, and I'm going to save it. I just really want to show you the speed of rendering. Check this out. Check this out. Check the speed of rendering. So I don't think you will get anything, well, DaVinci is super fast. I think we're kind of, like on par with that, if not a little faster because we have a less overhead. But like you literally, look, I just rendered the whole 13 shots. Done. Finished. So it's super, super fast. It's no comparison to kind of, transcoding and doing, stuff, like you're used to. You have just quickly created those dailies. And guess what? These dailies are already optimized in size and color and everything. They're optimized for online delivery. Now you just drag and drop them into your account, whatever you want to use, and it's basically just going to go and do that. That third shot actually looked a little bit too bright to me, right? I need to go and fix that one. Let me just go and do that quickly. So this shot here looked a little too bright. Yeah, 100%. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and say, hey, you need to be like only half a stop up. Okay, that's better. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and say export movie, but only render shot. It remembered the settings, start rendering, and it's just going to go and overwrite. Export and overwrite. Perfect. And now I'm just going to go and overwrite this one. Excellent. Okay. And now I got basically back to my dailies. Let's see, this clip should look now fine. Or where was it? Was it here? This one? Does it look better? Much better. Perfect. Excellent. So you see, you basically have all of those kind of shots quickly rendered. Your dailies are good for delivery. Off you go. Let's go now and see, like you move on. You have other things to do. You don't want to spend, hours and hours and hours on kind of color managing, matching dailies. You have got your job done because you prepared everything correctly. You're now really good to fly. Alrighty, so let's see now questions that I have here. Janosch says, when is Look Designer 2.5 for Windows available? Is there that nice codec included? Yes, there is coming. I can see Mark replied. The 2.6 will be released in July. Excellent. So we are basically, Mark is managing that part. So yes, it's gonna come in July as a Windows version, 100%. Darren says, what's your thoughts on the new ARRI color science and presume you're implementing it? Darren, I love it. I think it's by far, the most sophisticated, color science that we've seen so far. What I would recommend, Darren, you do is just Google on your podcast platforms, wherever you listen to your podcast, Colorist Meetup. And I have just recorded Colorist Meetup with the chief color scientist of ARRI called Harald Brandl. It's amazing. Marcello, maybe you can post a link in the chat of that podcast. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You should listen to it if you're interested to learn how sensor is developed, how color science is created, what they really thought when they developed it and how they developed it, what's new with C4. I discuss all the ins and outs. And yes, Darren, we do support the new ARRI. We are actually just, at the moment doing some tweaks to the, actual MXF files. But you can, if you have to the raw files, but if you have an MXF file, you can just go here, it says camera profile, and now you have a ARRI log C4. That's the new camera, that's the new color. It's just absolutely beautiful. So go ahead. I really think you should listen to the podcast because it just really gives you all the information that you need right now in order to be able to, understand how best to use it and what to do with the ARRI camera. Hey, Jens is here. Good to see you, Jens. I noticed that you use DaVinci YRGB in your settings. Do you ever use color managed workflow? If so, when? Emmanuel, I do. I do color management, but I don't manage on project level. I manage using nodes. So, you know, you can take one of my courses, like, you know, I do feature film course, or, you know, in commercial course I do. So there is a really like a, you know, a huge advantage when you actually manage in nodes, because you can do exactly the same stuff you can do when you select it in project settings, with just much more flexibility, and also, like, you know, you have a much better control of what's doing and what's happening, and you can also make some tweaks to color science. So most colorists that I know that work here in Hollywood are also color managing using nodes. They just, you know, don't really, you know, trust that some sort of project setting is doing quite the thing that you needed to do. And DaVinci has completely now like accommodated, you know, this workflow. They allow us to all the metadata to work. So you stay in YRGB, but you use nodes to do all the color management. And it's just much better, I find, an elegant workflow. But you, of course, need to know a little bit what you're doing with color management to be able to do that like that. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Hey, look, the guys heard it. Janos and Jens heard it. It's just absolutely amazing. You know what? Harold is such an amazing person. I have to tell you, like, and you know, another fun fact, we released it, and I forgot now what was the day, Monday or Tuesday. I think Tuesday we released it, and in first 2 hours we had 5,500 listens. We never had it before. Like in 2 hours, 5,500 people listened to it. So there is a definitely huge interest in your new camera, and people really want to understand and learn how this is all working. Okay, should I put off buying a MacBook M1 and wait for Windows version of Colourlab, or are there other reasons from Colourlab perspective to get M1? Nikhil, you should get an M1 because this is an amazing, amazing, amazing computer. It's by far the fastest, you know, thing on the planet. It's elegant. It's, if you want to work, especially a little bit like DIT, it's much more reliable than Windows computer. It has an amazing HDR screen. You really can't get anything better than this right now to work on set and to do post and anything like that. And listen, when we were deciding whether we want to go first do Windows or Mac, we have just prevailed to do Mac because most people who work in this industry prefer to work on Mac, especially if they have to travel around and do this. However, you are potentially going to get much more processing power in a like a workstation style of Windows computers. So if you want to work like in your home with a good kind of quality PC, what you get for money for like a workstation style computer, you know, Windows is just by far the best. But for mobile work, laptop work, you can't beat Mac. You can't. Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, Marcello, I haven't seen your post, actually. No, I haven't seen your post. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Running to make collection of references. Good, Anastasia. Go for it, guys. Go for it. So, guys, hope you liked it. My time has run out. Enjoy your day. Thank you for tuning in. And thanks for, you know, sending all those questions. I really, really appreciate that. And watch this space. I'm recording loads of new courses. You know, there's lots of stuff coming up. You know, the whole thing, you know, is evolving, especially with the workflows, with Premiere and so on. This is 2.11 is the best version we had so far. I'm super happy with it, the way how it performs, how it works. I have to tell you, this is by far the best one we had. So, you know, download it and use it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a lovely day, and I'm gonna see you, hopefully in a week time or something like that.